Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Jacob Payton. Today I'm going to be talking about Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This is Ketterdam, a bustling hub of international trade where anything can be had for the right price, and no one knows that better than criminal prodigy Kaz Brecker. Kaz is offered a chance at a deadly heist that could make him rich beyond his wildest dreams, but he can't pull it off alone. A convict with a thirst for vengeance, a sharpshooter who can't walk away from a wager, a runaway with a privileged past, a spy known as the Wraith, a heartrender using her magic to survive the slums, a thief with a gift for unlikely escapes. Kaz's crew are the only ones who might stand between the world and destruction if they don't kill each other first. Bum bum bum. Yeah, I really like this book. I'm not gonna lie. I actually did not know a whole lot about this book or the series. I think there's 2 books in this one, and then there's like another series that has like 4 or 5 books in it. But I watched the Netflix show Shadow and Bone, which basically has the parts that take place with the heist and stuff. That is all these guys. That is Six of Crows. I did not know that going in. I very much like that show, but the part of the show that I liked the most involved Kaz Brecker and his gang as they were trying to do this heist on this icy fortress city of basically super religious, I can't even call them Druskella, but they're like witch hunters basically, and they hunt the Grisha, which are this world's version of mages, but each one can only do a very specific thing. So kind of think of it kind of like Avatar the Last Airbender, where each of them have their own element. A heartrender can morph bodies and mess with people's physiology and stuff like that, and that is what Nina can do, which becomes very important later in the book. I also very much like heist, I like crime, and I like magical heist and crime. It's one of the reasons I like Jade City so much. But yeah, this book was a lot of fun. I'll be honest, I kind of went into this expecting it to be much more of one of those like YA romance books, and I was like, eh. But I was still going to give it a chance because once again, I did like the show, and I was not disappointed. This is not really what that is. This was much more a fantasy with some romantic subplots, not a romance with some fantasy subplots. So that was really nice. Once again, I loved all the world building that was done in this book. I will definitely be reading the sequel to this, which I need to put on hold at the library. I'll make a middle note of that while I'm thinking of it. I definitely want to see more of Inej too. That is the spy known as the Wraith. She was one of my favorite characters in this. She is I think they called her a Suli, is where she's from. But she's an acrobat, or she was an acrobat before she was captured by slave takers and sold to a brothel in Ketterdam until Kaz freed her. There is a lot, like basically everyone has very interesting backstories. Slavery is illegal in Ketterdam, but they make it clear that it still very much happens, and it's something that everyone just kind of turns a blind eye to because the city of Ketterdam is all about trade. And that is one of the things I did find kind of interesting in this world, at least the way it's set up, is it definitely seems like every geographic region, it's made clear that much like the Grisha, they're all focused on one very specific thing. So Ketterdam is kind of like this industrial trade city. Ravka, it kind of makes it seem more like that's more of like what you think of like a traditional fantasy setting a little bit, but also is kind of it very much all gives me the vibe of like 18th century or I guess 19th century like Eastern Europe is the way kind of like things are explained, the way everyone like behaves and stuff like that, and especially some of the technology and the weapons that are available. But yeah, Kaz is a very interesting character as well. He can't touch anybody, and that is explained in the book. I don't want to ruin that for you guys. Not because he's magic or anything like that, but just from trauma. So I kind of like that because he's seen as this person that is, vile, and he, unstoppable and can't be outsmarted. And then it kind of shows that, oh yeah, he is also just like a deeply traumatized person as well, because everyone's backstories, everyone just felt like a character. Everyone was a character, but in some books, you know how it is, where there's a couple main characters and everyone else is just playing to their tune. Not so in this book. Everyone is kind of, their own person to to a point. Like, the head hopping in this book is done in such a way that I did not mind it, which, you know, I don't very much like head hopping. If you've seen me talk about it on this channel, it's not my favorite thing. But all of these characters were so fleshed out, I didn't mind it. It basically almost kind of felt like at times that I was just reading a collection of novellas, kind of, right? Where I'm finding out it's just each character has their own story. And then it all ends in an overarching plot. I enjoyed this book immensely. I cannot say that enough. I will be reading the second. I will be watching the new season of this series, which I do believe is coming out. So if you're on the fence about this for any reason, if you're like, well, I don't want to read a, you know, YA fantasy book, but you've heard it's good, go ahead and give it a shot, especially if you like crime shows. Like, if you liked, what came out recently, like The Glass Onion or anything like that, anything where it's like you're trying, especially like heist oriented. Glass Onion's not a good one because that's not very heist oriented, but I can't really think of one that comes to mind. But if you were ever a fan of the show Leverage, you'll like that. I mean, that's basically, in a nutshell, a little bit what this is. They're not stealing from good people, but they are stealing, and there is a good reason why. But I don't want to spoil that because that is a big part of the plot, and it's going to be interesting too, because I guess once I finish the second book, I will go ahead and read the other series by Leigh Bardugo, sorry about that, and see if I get into that one as well. Mostly just because, you know, I want to see if they interact, the two series interact the same way that they do on the Netflix show. But yeah, I very much enjoyed this book. I will be reading the next one. I've said it once, I've said it again. Yeah. If you read this book, liked it, didn't like it, you know, let me know in the comments. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.